Many people tell me during consultations that they no longer know what to eat because they constantly hear contradictory messages. That meat is harmful, that it raises cholesterol, that it is dangerous for the heart. Today I want to help you clear up that confusion and show you, in a practical way, how to choose meat wisely so it becomes an ally in your diet instead of a source of worry. Meat is one of the oldest and most natural foods humans have consumed. For hundreds of thousands of years, it has been an important foundation of our diet. However, in recent decades, the idea has taken hold that meat is dangerous, mainly due to myths related to fat and cholesterol. These myths were already questioned years ago, yet they remain deeply rooted in the minds of many people. That is why today I want to talk to you about the 10 healthiest meats, explaining not only which ones they are, but also what you should look for in order to choose them better. Because it is not just about the type of meat, but about its quality and how it is produced. I am Dr. Gabriel Mena, and I welcome you to my channel. Here we talk about holistic health, longevity, and natural, very simple habits that help you maintain physical, mental, and emotional balance. So take note and share this information with your family and friends to help them improve their health. We upload new videos every day, so subscribe and activate the notification bell to make sure you do not miss any updates. Before we continue, if you find this content valuable, a simple gesture like liking the video or sharing it helps this message reach more people who need it. Thank you from the heart for being here and for taking care of your health. Now, let's get into the topic. In the number 10 spot, we find chicken thigh, what many people call dark meat. There is something very important here. The way the chicken is raised makes a big difference. Chickens that are raised outdoors, that walk freely, eat insects, and graze, have a much more natural composition and therefore are a better option for us. Pasture-raised poultry often surpasses many options labeled as organic, because even if the feed is organic, we do not always know what the animal actually ate. On the opposite end is industrial farming, where chickens are fed byproducts and highly processed feeds. This changes the quality of the fat, increasing omega-6 content, which disrupts the balance with omega-3 and promotes inflammatory processes. For this reason, I recommend prioritizing chicken thigh over breast. Dark meat contains more zinc, iron, collagen, and a very important amino acid called glycine. It also has more natural fat, which helps you feel full for longer and supports the production and release of bile, something essential for absorbing vitamins A, D, E, and K. These are fat-soluble vitamins that require fat to be properly absorbed. When someone follows excessively low-fat diets, the body has more difficulty producing bile and absorbing these vitamins. I see this often in my practice. I remember a patient around 60 years old who ate only chicken breast because he thought it was the healthiest option, yet he still felt tired and had digestive problems. With small adjustments, such as including better quality dark meat and some natural fat, his digestion and energy improved noticeably. In addition, and this is also important to say, dark meat is juicier and more flavorful. It not only nourishes better, it is also more enjoyable, which helps maintain healthy habits over time. Now, you may be wondering why chicken is not ranked higher on the list. Although it is a good option, it contains more omega-6 than other meats, and its micronutrient density is not as high. Added to that is the fact that the quality of chicken available today varies greatly, and much of what is on the market comes from industrial systems. I know it is not always easy to find pasture-raised chicken, but it is worth trying to avoid conventional chicken whenever possible. Still, compared to other meats, chicken remains affordable and can be part of a varied diet, without the need to eliminate it, but rather to use it in a balanced way. Before we continue, if these clear and practical explanations are helping you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and share this video with someone who may also be unsure about which meat to choose. Sometimes this information is not only useful for us, but also for someone close to us whom we care about. Let's continue. In the number 9 spot is turkey, and just like with chicken, dark meat is better than white meat. Although both are relatively lean, dark turkey meat provides more B vitamins, especially B6 and B3, which play key roles in metabolism, energy production, and nervous system function. B vitamins help the body process amino acids, produce neurotransmitters, and generate energy within the mitochondria, which are the true power plants of our cells. In general, turkey tends to be raised in a slightly more natural way than chicken, although this is not an absolute rule. So why does turkey not make it into the top 5? Mainly because its mineral and overall nutrient density is lower compared to other meats we will discuss later, and its fat quality is not as favorable as that of animals that feed primarily on grass. This brings us to the end of this first block. In the next one, we will continue moving up the list and taking a deeper look at other meats, always with the goal of helping you make more informed choices and take better care of your health through your diet. Many people want to eat meat without fear, but they are still confused by everything they have heard over the years about fat, cholesterol, and heart risks. The solution is not to eliminate meat, but to understand which type of meat to choose and why some options are clearly better than others. Continuing with the list, one of the great advantages of the meat we are discussing now is that it does not require a complicated search for quality. Compared to chicken or pork, it has a much more balanced ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, generally close to 1:1. It also contains more CLA, known as conjugated linoleic acid, which acts as an antioxidant along with other protective compounds. It is a very nutrient-dense meat, especially rich in zinc, a key mineral for the immune system and for recovery. And something I truly value is that, unlike other healthy options, this meat is usually flavorful and affordable. Honestly, it is hard to find something that offers so much nutritional value and good taste at a reasonable price. That is why I want to take this opportunity to clarify some misunderstandings that still exist around meat in general. For years, we have been told to avoid red meat, reduce meat consumption, and always choose the leanest options. These messages continue to circulate, despite the fact that humans have eaten meat for as long as we have existed. All ancient cultures, without exception, included meat in their diets. There are no records of original human societies that were completely vegetarian or vegan. Meat has always been a natural food for us. However, at a certain point, it began to be labeled as dangerous, mainly because it contains cholesterol, a substance that was once considered harmful. This idea gained strength starting in the 1950s, when cholesterol began to be hastily associated with heart disease. It was observed that heart problems were increasing, and when plaques in the arteries were analyzed, cholesterol was found. From that point on, it was quickly concluded that cholesterol was the culprit and that it should be avoided, recommending not consuming more than a certain amount per day. As a result, foods as complete as eggs were unfairly demonized. What is interesting is that, over time, even the same researchers who promoted that idea began to notice that there was no direct relationship between the cholesterol we eat and the cholesterol in the blood. As early as the 1960s, it became clear that dietary cholesterol did not explain heart disease, and the focus then shifted towards saturated fats. Even so, the years went by and research continued. By the year 2015, no clear relationship had been found between cholesterol from food, blood cholesterol levels, and heart disease. Finally, after more than 5 decades, official guidelines acknowledged that dietary cholesterol was not, in itself, a nutrient of concern. I know this can feel frustrating. Changing beliefs takes time, sometimes far too much time. Although we now know that cholesterol is not the problem it was once thought to be, it still appears on many labels and nutrition charts, which keeps confusion alive. For example, eating a single egg seems to take up a large portion of the recommended limit, when in reality it does not represent a real risk for most people. Nutrition labels, in many cases, do not help us better understand food. We are warned about sodium and added sugar, but the information is often presented in a way that creates more confusion than clarity. This leads people to believe that certain products are healthy just because of how they are labeled, when that is not always the case. Another aspect that has been pointed out as problematic in animal-based foods is saturated fat. When cholesterol was dismissed as the main enemy, all attention shifted to this type of fat. Here, important nuances need to be understood. It is true that saturated fat can raise total cholesterol and LDL, but not all LDL particles are the same, nor do they behave the same way in the body. In people without insulin resistance, without chronic inflammation, and without oxidative stress, an increase in LDL usually corresponds to large, fluffy particles that do not form plaques. In addition, when we are talking about saturated fat coming from real, high-quality foods rather than ultra-processed products, the effect is very different. Saturated fats found in junk food remain a problem because they come together with sugars, industrial oils, and additives that promote inflammation and metabolic imbalance. In contrast, when these fats come from good quality meats, like the ones we are analyzing today, the impact is completely different. There is, however, an additional point that is worth considering, and that is the relationship between saturated fat and gut health. In some people, a high intake can disrupt intestinal balance, favoring the growth of certain bacteria that are not beneficial. This does not happen to everyone, but it is something we see in clinical practice. I have had patients who combined low-quality meats with refined flours, sugar, and ultra-processed foods, and that is when problems appeared. When we adjusted food quality, improved fiber variety, and reduced industrial products, the body's response changed completely. That is why absolute statements cannot be made. Saturated fat can become a problem when it is combined with a low-fiber diet, high in sugars and industrial oils, or when the gut is already damaged. In those cases, certain bacteria produce substances that promote inflammation. I explain all of this so you understand that the problem is not meat itself, but the context in which it is consumed and the quality of the food. In the next block, we will continue moving forward on the list, and you will see how some meats stand out precisely because they offer better balance and greater support for health when chosen properly. If after so many years you have tried changing your diet and your lab results still do not turn out as expected, it does not mean you are doing everything wrong. Many times, the issue is not the meat or the fat itself, but how your body responds and what adjustments you need to make so those foods truly work in your favor. The good news is that this can be corrected once you know what to look at and how to act. In healthy people, saturated fat usually does not pose a problem, but it is always wise to observe it consciously. When comprehensive tests are done, looking not only at total cholesterol but also at the number and size of LDL particles, and when the diet is adjusted by increasing good quality meats and natural fats, results often improve. If they do not, there are usually other factors involved, such as inflammation, metabolic stress, or gut issues. In those cases, a helpful strategy is to increase the intake of monounsaturated fats, such as olive oil, which help balance the lipid profile while still providing energy and cardiovascular protection. Now we continue with one of the most important nutritional gems on the list. Wild salmon is one of the best natural sources of omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA, essential fats that the body needs for the brain, the heart, and inflammation control, and that most people are deficient in. It also contains astaxanthin, a very powerful antioxidant that protects cells from aging. Although it can sometimes be a bit harder to find than farmed salmon, wild salmon is still accessible and not excessively expensive. Farmed salmon contains less omega-3 and has a less favorable profile, although it remains an acceptable option when no other alternative is available. Sardines also hold a prominent place. When you eat them with their small bones, which are barely noticeable, they naturally provide calcium and phosphorus, along with large amounts of omega-3 fatty acids. They also support the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K. Sardines are caught young and are low on the food chain. This is important because, by living a shorter time and feeding on small organisms, they accumulate very little mercury, unlike large fish that live for many years. That is why sardines are a safe, nutritious, and very smart choice. In addition, they are available almost everywhere and are inexpensive. You can have a complete food for very little money. My clear recommendation is to choose sardines packed in olive oil and avoid those in soybean oil. Many times they cost the same, and even if olive oil is slightly more expensive, the health difference is absolutely worth it. Another highly valuable meat is grass-fed beef. It is one of the most nutrient-dense foods available. It provides heme iron, which is easily absorbed, zinc essential for immune defenses and hormonal balance, and vitamin B12, which is fundamental for nerve health and energy, and often lacking in many older adults. When it comes from pasture-raised animals, it also contains more omega-3 fatty acids and a healthier balance between omega-6 and omega-3, along with conjugated linoleic acid, known as CLA, which is also found in lamb. Although it is not always easy to find 100% grass-fed beef, it is increasingly available and remains a better option than many ultra-processed alternatives. Red meat has been a pillar of human evolution, despite the unfounded fears that have been attributed to it. Alongside it, there is one food that stands out above many others: liver, ideally from beef or chicken. It is possibly the most nutrient-dense food that exists. Liver provides vitamin A in its active form, which the body can use immediately, natural folate rather than synthetic folic acid, and large amounts of vitamin B12, B6, choline, and copper. Before supplements existed, liver was used to treat anemia, exhaustion, and pregnancy-related issues, because even without modern science, it was known to strengthen the body. I remember a patient around 60 years old, tired and with recurrent anemia, who had avoided meat for years out of fear. By incorporating small portions of liver once a week, along with other adjustments, her levels improved significantly within a few months, and most importantly, she regained energy and mental clarity. I see cases like this frequently. And in first place on this list is heart, preferably from beef or lamb. Heart is a natural source of coenzyme Q10, essential for cellular energy and proper heart muscle function. Before capsules existed, it was already known that eating heart supported the heart itself. It also provides taurine, iron, and zinc, helping the cardiovascular system, glucose control, and energy production. All of this confirms that many solutions have always been present in food, long before supplements existed. Now, this list is not an absolute rule. It is not a law or a single truth. It is a way of organizing very healthy foods based on certain criteria. All the foods we have mentioned are excellent choices. What truly matters is variety, adapting your choices to your budget, your digestion, and your lifestyle. In restaurants, for example, the ideal versions are almost never served, such as wild salmon or pasture-raised beef. What you usually find is farmed salmon or grain-fed beef. Even so, these are still better options than many ultra-processed dishes, fried in industrial oils or loaded with refined flours and sugars. Everything is relative. With clear information, you can always choose the best option available to you, without guilt or fear. If this content is helping you better understand your diet and make more conscious decisions, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and share this video with someone who also wants to take better care of their health. We upload new videos every day, created especially to support you on this journey. I would also like to invite you to something very simple yet profound. Take a moment to thank God for life, for your body, and for the opportunity to learn and improve your habits each day. Knowledge, when used well, is a blessing that allows us to live better. On this channel, Dr. Gabriel, Mena, and I are very happy to contribute clear, practical, and human information to help improve your health and habits. Tomorrow, a new video will be waiting for you, and it will be a great pleasure to have you with us again. Here you always have a space where you matter, where we learn together, and where your well-being is our priority.